Hey everybody, and welcome to the final part of the Three Monkeys Park playthrough. Now in this episode we finally get the scenario objective all wrapped up. It was a bit more challenging than I originally anticipated. The guest count itself wasn't too difficult to reach. The main problem I had with this playthrough here was getting the amount of money I needed to build the last few coasters that I wanted, as well as all the scenery actually. Everything I did seemed to just cost a fortune, so it took a while to get all the money I needed, so it was a bit frustrating at times, but never mind, it all worked out in the end. So the first thing I did was a small little mine train coaster here. It was meant to be kind of a family style sort of ride. Actually before that I renamed the Virginia Reel to Skull Spinner based on a suggestion from Lil Gecko. It was originally called Real Scary, which was awful, so I'm really glad someone stepped in and gave it a proper name, so thank you very much for that suggestion, much appreciated. The mine train coaster here, I deliberately hit a stat penalty, and I did that by making sure that no drops on the coaster were higher than 4 meters. The reason I did that is I wanted the intensity rating of it to be between like 3 and 4, just because I wanted it to be more of, as I said before, a bit of a family style coaster, and there was already those big 3 racing coasters which had pretty high intensities, so wanted to put some smaller coasters around the park. So I go back to the Main Street area and I build out one of those little helicopter rides. I don't usually build these in my park. I mean, they're pretty garbage in terms of their stats. I mean, their excitement rating is ridiculously low, and they're not super popular, but I kind of liked the look of it and how it just meandered its way through the Main Street area there, so I was happy with the decision to put that in at the end. The only downside to it was that it definitely ate into my coaster building and scenery building time, so it was a bit of a rush to get everything done in the end, but never mind. So the next big thing was building a big wooden coaster out the back of the park. There was a huge section of space out the back that I needed to fill, so I chose a wooden coaster to do that. I was pretty happy with how it turned out. It was very expensive. I probably shouldn't have made it as long as I did, but I really liked the final look of it, so I was happy with what I did in the end. You'll probably notice that the first drop and the first climb are somewhat elongated, like stretched out with a few extra shallow pieces. There's a YouTuber by the name of Andrelczyk. I'm quite a big fan of his. He's actually a real life theme park designer, and he has a YouTube channel and a Twitch stream. And he hosts these quite lengthy tutorial sessions on various coaster types, not just coaster types, all kinds of stuff like log flumes as well. And he basically teaches you a lot about how rides operate in real life, and also how best to go about designing them in the game, just to make them look more realistic. And yeah, so I've been really enjoying his stuff, so I'm going to put a link in the description below to his YouTube channel. I would definitely recommend you go check him out. He's been really good. So yeah, I go back and finally open the last section of the park here. There's one last coaster that I go out and build. Yeah, before that I just add a little bit of an entrance to this wooden coaster. I thought it looked kind of cool just at the base of that first climb and second drop. So the final coaster that I build here is a little aerodynamics corkscrew coaster. Now this is based off a coaster actually called Corkscrew in Alton Towers. I don't believe the ride operates anymore, but you'll find the same layout is apparent through in many other parks throughout the world. So I put one of those in just towards the end. The main reason I did that is I realized kind of late towards the end that I didn't have a coaster with any inversions, and there's like 6 or 7 other coasters in this park, so I thought I better get a coaster with some loops or corkscrews in, so that was the main reason behind that. It was kind of compact. I kind of like the look of it overall actually. Yeah, I think it worked out kind of nice. I put in a launch freefall just there, just to get a bit of extra income. Because I'm about to spend a lot of money on scenery, so I thought, that's a good money maker, so I'll just throw that one in there. Then I finally go back and go through the mine train coaster area and theme it out with all kinds of bits from the mining theme set. I think it looked pretty good in the end. Yeah, I was pretty happy with it. It's quite a challenge getting everything done within the last few months of the scenario, but yeah, so go back and do the wooden coaster. I wouldn't call it theming, but it's just a bit of brown surface texture kind of at the base of the support structures. I always think that looks kind of a bit more realistic at the base of a wooden coaster for some reason. With the station building, I tried my best to make something look kind of decent, but you know, money was getting tight towards the end, and I really wanted to get other scenery done like trees and bushes and all that. So I kind of just had to settle for what I had there. It looks alright, but you know, as I've said before, building buildings in the original game is, you know, not very practical. It's quite expensive, and the buildings just do not look as nice as what they can in you know, the newer versions of the game. I also go back and add a few more sections of the rock surface texture. Yeah, I kind of like the look of it. I've been really enjoying using that in bits of the park. It just you know, breaks up the continual grass surface texture quite nicely. I think it adds a nice little bit of variety. I go back and add plenty of fences because I always think that they can help with you know, making areas look a little bit more realistic. Go back and put tons and tons of trees and bushes around. The final little section here, I really wanted to build a river rapids ride actually, but you know, as you can see, it's October year 3 and time's getting a bit tight for that. So as a compromise, I actually just built a little kind of mountain stream towards the back. Well, not really a mountain stream, but you know, a foresty sort of themed stream. And I used sections of the river rapids ride to replicate a waterfall. You know, it looks okay, I think, in the end. It's not 100% convincing, but you know, it's good enough for the original version of the game, I think. So yeah, that is just about it for the scenario. As you can see, the guest count is perilously close to the 1400 required. I actually wasn't paying too much attention to that, which is a bit silly, but I got over the line in the end, just with plenty of advertising. So there we go, that's the scenario done. Now we're just going to go on a little bit of a overview of the park. There's the 3 racing coasters there, which I did some pretty hefty modifications to, just so they'd reduce the spatial footprint of them. There's a junior coaster and the Virginia reel, which was renamed to Skull Spinner. There's a bit of a haunted area just up the top of the hill there. There's a side friction coaster, which is a pretty tame little ride, but kind of looks kind of cool just wrapped up in there. There's the mine train coaster, which I think is one of my favourites in the park actually. And then the Big Woody out the back. It's got quite a high intensity rating. I think that's mostly due just to the number of drops, because it's such a long coaster. But it's got a good excitement rating, and I was really happy with it. And then finally the little aerodynamics corkscrew coaster at the end there. Anyway, that's going to be just about it for this episode. Hope you all enjoyed it. I'm going to be starting Canary Mines next, so I hope to see you in the next video there. Alright, cheers, bye.